So we are in the mode of CBSE training, and I'm happy to invite Miss Anjali as the resource person for today, the second in-house training we have. And the topic she has prepared is decision-making skill in adolescence. So we are all dealing with the teenage students. So I think this topic will help us to motivate and help our students. So this training will be for 1 hour. So today we have Miss Anjali as the resource person, and I hope it will be a beautiful, wonderful session for learning for all of us. So wish you all the best and have a nice day.
Thank you, sister. I'm humbled. It is my honor and proud privilege that I have been joined by so many of my learned colleagues. So, a very charismatic and informative afternoon to one and all present here. Myself, Miss Anjali, TGT Physics from Holy Cross School, welcomes each one of you for this session on the topic Decision-Making Skill in Adolescence. The technological advancement since past few decades have led to the globalization of the world and people. People today live in the world of virtual cultures due to this ongoing pandemic. So constant upgradation and pacing up with the dynamic environment is the need of hour to make the balance between the future challenges and present need. Keeping this in mind, I would like to deliver my presentation in this topic, and it is the most important issue nowadays in the age group of the children between the phase of early childhood and premature phase, which is maturity. The age group between 12 years or 13 years. It's not the exact age, but in between 12 years to 17 years. It's the early adolescent age, which is the most crucial phase in the student's life. It is the period in which there is a rapid change in the student's physical, mental, social, moral, emotional, and sexual aspects. This phase is also known as the phase of new learnings. But this phase is also known as the phase of anxiety and worries. There are a lot more issues goes through their daily academics, through their classroom environment, in their peer group also. They face a lot of problems in the study, in their learning atmosphere also. They face different types of phases also, where they might feel that sometimes they are so inferior, they feel complexities, they start dreaming in days, they are not that active in the classroom environment also. So the problem, the need of the student, the need of the teacher, what is the role of the teacher in studying these issues in the student's life, it is also very much important to be studied. As a teacher, what should be our initiatives and what the steps should be taken in the academics of the students so that it should be improvised. The need of the student in this age, there are so many needs also that they acquire, that they require. The need of the students for that, all these aspects, I have prepared the slides. So we'll be dealing with this. First of all, what is decision-making skill? Before that, what is decision? I would like to throw a question upon you all. What is decision? Yes?
To think what is right and what are the pros and cons of a particular situation.
Correct. Absolutely correct, ma'am. Decision is just how we come up with such judgment, how we judge the things. And we are already aware of the pros and cons. We, as an adult, we all know that what is good and bad for us. Sometimes we are not even aware. Okay? But for the students at the age of adolescence, at their teen age, They are not aware about the right and the wrong things, about good and bad. Okay? So, decision making skill can be defined as the process of making choices among possible alternatives. As an individual, we make choices, and that choices can be yes or no. It can be either you select that option or you just ignore as an individual. So, if a person selects or agrees with some condition, then that is the individual decision making. But if that decision is being established in a group, then that is discussion. We always discuss the thing. As an individual, if we have that courage, then we always make a decision without discussion, and we have that capability to decide by knowing. At the same time, we need to run parallelly that whatever we are selecting, our choices are in favor to us. So the skills considered important to effective decision makings are based on normative model of decision making, which prescribes how decisions should be made. And of course, pros and cons. What is favorable and what is unfavorable, desirable or desirable. So it has got the different classifications. So decision making process involves assessment, then it has planning, then implementation, monitoring and evaluation. So these are the subdivisions of this process. Of course, planning and plotting is very much essential in order to succeed. Planning and then working on it, monitoring as well as then implementation of the same process. So this leads to effective decision making, and these are the skills which should be run. These skills include identifying the possible options, identifying the possible consequences that follow from each options. We come up with different options. Whenever any situation we face, then we have a lot of options. But it's up to us that how we select and which is the most appropriate. Okay? So identifying the possible consequences, evaluating the desirability, as I said before, if it is favorable or if it is desirable, up to that. Then assessing the likelihood of each consequences, if it is unlike or like. Then making a choice using a decision rule. Always there should be a rule. That rule comprises that if the person, individual is comfortable in accepting that decision, it's not like something is just thrown up to you and then that is accepted by a child. So it should not be like that. It should be a rule of a particular individual in which the decision should be made, and that requires the skills. Adolescents are called upon to make many difficult decisions, including decisions regarding career, sexuality, school involvement and risk behavior. At this phase, students, and they most of the time they need attention. They need love, affection. They never like being scolded. Okay, the small children in the junior classes, they will never answer you back, and they never argue many a times, most of the time, in fact. But the senior students, they are so stubborn. They are not ready. Mostly, they do not accept whatever is being instructed. So we say that you are most stubborn. You are so stubborn. Okay, they start developing that mentality. It is not their problem. They start, making excuses that because of this and that I could not complete my assignment or my work in a given time. So the reason is only that the student, because of their changes in their behavior, in their daily routine, in their habit, it is not a problem. If a student is saying again and again the same excuse, the student is giving again and again because of this, and that excuse is justified also. Okay, maybe it is 1% or 10% correct also, but every time if the student makes the same excuse, and it is not a problem, it is a habit of that student, and that has to be corrected, that has to be monitored by the teachers. It is the role of a teacher, right? And then they are so concerned, they are not that easy adapting the nature. They cannot accept the things, the traditions, the religions. The students in the growing age, in this age, during their teen age, they are not always ready to accept the things and the values which are being given by the parents and the elders as well as the teachers. They do not accept the traditions, purane riti rivaj, cultures. They do not believe in that, and they say that ये सब तो बस misconceptions होते हैं, अंधविश्वास होता है, right? But the fact also they are not ready to accept, and it is just because of their changes in their developmental phases. Okay, it is not their problem. It is quite natural. That is needed to be studied. Choices made at this time have the power to influence many aspects of an adolescent's future. Whatever they decide and whatever they select at this age plays a very important role in their future, in their career. If you will ask an adolescent or a teenage what you want to become, what is the aim of your life, they will say, I want to become a pilot, I want to become, like the thing which is not possible. They start, making their ambition. But very few students, the selective and the studious student will only say that I want to become a scientist, I want to become a doctor, बहुत ही कम. Because they are in that phase, in that period of their life where they decide such things. Okay, so whatever they decide, it plays a very important role. Therefore, it is essential that adolescents be aware of potential impact of their decisions and learn effective decision making skill. That has to be, the values has to be given by the teachers. Adolescence is a time of physical, cognitive, social and emotional growth and change. The evidence suggests that by the age of 15 years, it's not the exact age, I told you before also, it keeps on changing. Okay? So, but we always consider the early phase of this period, adolescence. It starts from the right age from 12 years, but nowadays due to this ongoing classes, online classes, virtual cultures, the student has grown a lot before time. समय से पहले ही बहुत सारी चीजें they have already learned and they have grown enough rather than other generation. They are not outdated nowadays. They do not need any instructions from their elder. They are already knowledgeable. They have already acquired enough knowledge. So, at the age of 15 years, many adolescents show a level of competence in metacognitive understanding of decision making, creative problem solving, correctness of choices, and commitment of a course of action. How much they are dedicated to a work that they have been assigned, what's the level of correctness, how much they are perfect, they are that conscious about that. Okay, so this is about a brief introduction about adolescence. Now, no one is born with awesome decision making skills. It's a known fact, and no one is perfect even. Everyone has got some disabilities and everyone has their own potential also at the same time. Okay, no one is imperfect and no one is perfect. It is a skill that needs to be learned and strengthened. This means the more often you make decisions, the better you will get at it. Okay, practice. Okay, how much you decide, what are your skills in order to select out of so many choices, what is your appropriate selection, how you select the things, okay, that decides that what you are going to get in the future. Okay, it's a difficult skill to perfect, however, since the better you get at decision making, the more challenging problem you will face. Yes, so the more you are selective enough, then more difficulty you will feel. You will feel like quite confused, right? But if you have that rule in your rule book, and if you have got that skills in order to select that correct option out of many choices, then that will lead to the correct path. And there will be challenges, but you should be ready to face all those challenges and problems that you are going to face in the future. It's in the concern of the students, but at the same time we also face a lot of problems and issues in handling these students. It's not easy to handle these teenagers. That's why some people get nervous when it comes to make decisions because they are afraid they will make wrong choices. This is basics of decision making. Whenever you have more than one option, there is always a chance you will make a better or a worse decision. Either you will select the most correct one, or it will be, the worst one. Okay, this is the only possibility. Most probably you will select the most appropriate one, but you never know what is the consequences. So you should be ready enough to face the result also, right? Although you can imagine where each decision will take you, you often won't know how good your decision is until a period of time passes by. Up to your knowledge, you may find that whatever I know I have done correct. हम बोलते भी हैं कि मुझे पता है what I have done. I know that I am not wrong. We use the statements also. मुझे पता है what am I doing. So it is up to your knowledge, but you are not aware of the consequences of its pros and cons. Keep in mind, there is no right or wrong answer to many of the dilemmas you will face. As a result, you will have to make a choice depending on what you know about yourself. Before you do something, before you step for something, for opting something, you should know your capabilities, your potentials, and other aspects of your life. As a result, you will have to make a choice depending on what you know about yourself, your situation in life, your needs and wants, and what you think will work best for you. So this is all about the rules of decision making. So here are some of the terms which is associated with the skill, and you can see two arrowheads, one pointing to the right and one pointing to the left. You can see the good decision is pointing to the right. It means it will lead to you to the right path. That the good decision always lead to the right path. But you never know what is your situation. It depends upon your situation, condition, right? How you are handling the thing. All right. Then bad decision leads to difficult path. Not bad path or wrong path, but difficult. Okay, you can handle, you can correct the situation. Although अब कर लिए गलती, अब क्या करें, अब इसको सुधारना तो है. So bad decision will lead to the wrong path. Then you have to study on that. You only can work on that, and it is only you आप ही हैं जो उसको सुधार सकते हैं. Okay, so the steps involved in order to handle all these are consult with others. If we talk about the students, they always need love and affection. I'm saying this because this is the problem and this is the major problem. कभी भी कोई भी student at this age, teenage or even a child, in our home also, in our family also, इस age में इतना ज़्यादा rebellious होता है. They start developing that rebellious mentality, all right, and they are quite anxious, एकदम जिद्दी हो जाना, and they become start to develop that self-dependency. They do not ask any their parents or elder members in their family for taking up any decision, right? And they start isolating themselves. कम बात करने लगते हैं, and they feel like they start to look forward for such peer group, such group of their same ages. इन सारे टीनेजर्स को नहीं पसंद होता कि द members in their group should be, बड़े हो या फिर छोटे हो, or their same age. They just start looking forward, and in that age group only they find themselves more comfortable. So, at this age, what to do, what not to do, consult with others. Consultancy, counseling is most important, and then think about what you truly want. Is that the thing that you need or desire or your requirement? Is it really in your priority list? So start prioritizing the things. Students should be also taught the same. Okay, that whatever you need or whatever you are looking for, is that really in your need book or in your priority list? And then start behind what you believe. Okay, it should be up to your belief. Be logical. Illogical such as demand करते हैं, but they should be made to learn the logic behind whatever they are seeking for and whatever they are demanding for. So there always should be a logical and critical thinking. That is the cognitive domain. Alright, then consider the outcomes. हमेशा समझाते ऐसा करोगे तो ऐसा हो जाएगा, फिर समझना. Right? So these things should be inculcated in students' mind about the outcomes, and then stay true to your values. Alright, moral values is also very important. Make a list of pros and cons. Be positive. Alright, and then understand your emotions. Consider the consequences of your choice. So whatever is going to happen, it is your selection, it is your choice. You should be ready to face that. Common decisions adolescents may make. These are the very common thing. They start thinking, आज क्या पहनना है, आज कहाँ जाना है, आज किससे बात करना है, what is today's task. They will never make a list of the activities that they have got as an assignment. कभी नहीं. But for these things, they start making decision. आज क्या homework मिला है, they completely ignore these things. But what to wear to school, कैसे जाना है स्कूल, what to eat for lunch, आज लंच में क्या खाएंगे, अगर पसंद का लंच नहीं मिला है then they don't eat also. Which homework to do first. अब जो homework सबसे ज़्यादा आसान होगा, they will complete that. So they start selection process for that also. What to do on the weekends, weekend planning also. Then what to do during study hall. पढ़ाई नहीं करेंगे study hall में, हम planning करके they start making programs and they start setting the things how to manage in the study hall also. What movie to see. Alright, these are the things that student decides at this age. Risky decisions adolescent may make. So apart from that, there are some decisions we are very, very unhealthier and they are too much risky. So risk as in breaking the law. They start breaking the rules and regulations. Alright, and they find it too cool to break the rule also. Okay, so, and using drugs, they go in such path where they are distracted, maybe by the influence of nowadays such movies are also there, by which they find the ideal. They find it inspiring and influencing the teenagers. In the movie, the actor was smoking and drinking and he was a doctor. तो डॉक्टर तो है, स्मोक भी कर रहा और ड्रिंक भी कर रहा और ड्रग्स भी ले रहा. So they find it ideal and they get inspirations from that, from programs also. Then having unprotected sex also. So these are the unhealthier practice, risky decisions that the teenagers make at this period. How to make good decisions? What is the choice I need to make? Okay? Will my choice get me in trouble? कहीं हम मुसीबत में तो नहीं पड़ जाएंगे ऐसा करने से? That fear should be there in the mind of a child or a student in this phase. Will my choice put me in danger? Will my choice hurt myself or others? Do I need to ask for help? This fear should be there in their mind. ये डर अगर बच्चे के मन में होता है, then they will never select any such choices, okay, which is not favorable. All right. Now there are 8 simple steps to good decision making for adolescent. Let us look into that one by one. What is the problem you are facing? Being a teacher, the role of the teacher is proper counseling of students and a child. So in that counseling, we should listen. We should be a good listener of a child. Why? What is the problem that the student or a child before he or she was quite active, but nowadays he or she is talking too less. So what's the reason? So we should look into the matter. We should listen to them. ठीक है, सुनेंगे, भले ही हम रिजॉल्व नहीं कर सके, but be a good listener and listen to their problem with love and affection. That the student will always approach or a child always approach to that member of the family or to that teacher whom they find more comfortable, loving and affectionate. Okay? अगर उनके मन में ऐसा होता है कि घर में हम ये बात किसी को बताएं तो मुझे डांट पड़ेगी, मार पड़ेगा, तो they will never disclose anything. Okay? And they will always develop a habit to keep secrets. Fine? So, what is the problem to be solved? And write it down so you are clear on what you are trying to resolve. Always that habit should be inculcated, that writing habit, जो भी problem हो, that they could share in their personal diary. With the diary, they should make friend, all right, and they should note down there. And what should be the possible actions and measures that should be undertaken in order to resolve that problem which is the student or a child is undergoing. Write down why you should solve this issue. क्या जरूरत है? What is the need to resolve that problem? This step gives you an idea of how important this decision is. The importance of decision should be diagnosed. Gather information, ask for advice. Write down what you need to learn, interview people. What do others who have already been through this say? So from the experienced people, कि अच्छा आपके साथ ऐसा हुआ था तो आपने क्या किया था? So interview the people so that you will get the idea without disclosing your own past. And then gather information from valid sources. There are so many fake sources also which gives you instructions. बहुत सारे suggestion 1000 मिल जाते हैं, but only the solution will be from the correct decision making, right? If you will share a problem, then there will be nobody interested to listen to you. First of all, कभी आप किसी के group, I mean in your own group or even if in your friend group, if you will share, your experience कि आज मेरे साथ क्या हुआ, we never like healthier practices. Gossips are always interesting, but if you start sharing the your problems, your experiences, then nobody is interested. हाँ मुझे तो पता है. Alright, if in a table there it is plattered lot of fruits, fresh salads, and if in another table some chaat pakoras are there, we always get attracted towards the second one. Chatpati चीज ज़्यादा अच्छी लगती है, right? So here also the suggestions could be thousands in number, but the selection should be the healthier one. All right, so this should be a healthy practice. So what are the facts? What is the holding you back? What is your past experience? What is the fear for responsibility, bad habits? Everything should be shared at the same time. Then only it could be studied. This step gives you objective and subjective information. Objective as in non-biased and subjective as in biased. So this is the motto of this step, that we get the objective. What is important to you? the values, and what's really important for you. Then list your values. Values, this constitutes honesty, good grades, money, independence. What condition do you want your choice to reflect? That should be your family's opinion. That value should be gathered from the family's opinion, right? Brainstorm and write down your possible options. So storming guidelines are followed by focus on quantity, withhold criticism, welcome unusual ideas, combine and improve ideas, come up with ideas and choices you can choose from. So these are the brainstorming exercises in which the selection should be quantified, okay, and that should be focused enough. All right, ऐसा नहीं कि ये भी ले लिया वो भी ले लिया, that suggestion, and you start working. When you start to work on that, you are completely confused. So a quantification should be there. Withhold criticism. You will get criticism, but it's not always like the criticism leads you to the difficult situation only. When you start working on the criticism, you start to improvise yourself. You know, also be practiced. Unusual ideas, that is the difficult idea, should be undertaken. And when does an individual start working on unusual ideas, that is impractical but logical. Okay, so impractical and unusual concept should also be undertaken by improving that, by new practices. What are the consequences in the terms of good and bad of each choice? Use step 2 and 3 I discussed before. The step 2 and 3 should be used here to determine the pros and cons of each possible choice listed in step 4. Write this down in table so you have all the data right in front of you. Alright, so if in the good list there are more number of statements and more number of results, then definitely that decision is going to favor you. And if it is bad, then it should be understood the outcome is not going to be so easier. You are free to choose, but you are not free from the consequences of your choice. Okay? ये आपके ऊपर है, आप करना चाहते हैं नहीं करना चाहते हैं, बट फेस करने के लिए रेडी रहिए, आप उससे नहीं भाग सकते. So you cannot free yourself from the consequences of your choice. One of the most important things that I have learned is that life is all about choices. On every journey you take, you face choices. At every fork in the road, you make a choice, and it is those decisions that shape your lives. ये मैं नहीं बोली हूँ. This is the psychologist Mike Devine. Okay, so according to him, this is the thing that the journey, whatever you are undertaking, you have to make a correct selection for that. Every road does not lead to a right path. And decide on the best choice for you. Balancing should be there. This is much easier after you go through the above step. Rate your options if you have to rank order based on your research. Take a few days to think about it if you need to, and then come back to your dilemma. So a rubric should be there, a table should be there, and then rating should be there in terms of numbers. Okay, in a correct order. Create a plan and carry it out. Planning. When you have made your choices, create a plan of specific steps you will take and carry out your plan. So, before planning, we cannot implement anything, and anything cannot be monitored also. So, planning in a correct pattern should be there. There should be a correct, habit also in order to inculcate and implement the practice which were given in previous steps. Now measure the results and expectations. Whatever result we have received, is that to your expectation? जितना expect किया था, उतना मिला क्या? This can only be done once you make your decision, carried out your plan, and received feedback. So, immediate feedback for the student also. There should be the immediate feedback, and that feedback should be the word of appreciation in pattern of certificate also, reward also, and word also. We can make positive feedback. Then what about steps you took? Are you still meeting the things important to you? So results and expectations. And students at this age, at the age of adolescent, they have a lot of expectation. You बोलते हैं that are you dreaming in day? They are a daydreamer. Yes, they are daydreamer, and it is a good thing. And at the same time, they are quite anxious and worried about a lot of things that they do not get in their life easily. जो आसान से नहीं मिलता उनके लिए they start becoming stubborn and rebellious for that. And the most important thing is that they never like that suggestions and any kind of lecture. They never like. Students at teenage, they always want to get appreciated whatever they do, चाहे अच्छा हो चाहे खराब हो, उनको डांट बिल्कुल नहीं पसंद होता. But this study makes a teacher to implement the things in much easier manner. Finally, what about the steps you will take while making decisions? Don't let stress get the better of you. Give yourself some time. Weigh the pros and cons. Think about your goals and values. Consider all the possibilities. Talk it out. Keep a diary. Plan how you will tell others. Rethink your opinions. So these are the measures and the steps that should be taken into consideration while deciding and while selecting any choices out of multiple selections. And which should not, there is one statement by Stanley Hall, he was also a great psychologist, that decision is a stress, adapt that thing. Is that really good for everyone, for each child? Because of course there is individual differences. Not every child is the same. They have got different potentials, they have got varieties, and their behaviors are also not the same. Right? Some are so calm and so studious, some are quite stubborn and quite active also. Right? So the measurement of the pros and cons, weighing, is also important in this result outcome, and then rethinking the opinion. Whatever suggestion and opinions are being adapted by an individual, we should rethink about that. Students should rethink about that. Not one time, two times, but number of times before it is practiced. So that's all about the needs and the problems during the age of adolescence. I hope this was useful for everyone. I was able to explain all the slides, and we will study on that, and it will be working in our learning and teaching process also. Thank you.